a 2-year-old. I don't know what in the world could justify a 2-year-old having, half of his body burned with skin coming off.
Isolated, and I don't know why you're making those faces to me, Judge. You can.
I'm not making. First of all, stop. One, I'm not making any faces. Number two, I'm looking at you and listening to your argument, counsel.
I noted facial expressions, Judge.
Well, your notation is incorrect. You may continue with your argument.
Today, we're back in Judge Boyd's courtroom, and this case is straight chaos from the jump. The tension is thick, emotions are running high, and it feels like the entire room is bracing for impact. The defendant sitting at the table is facing child abuse charges after his child was found with skin literally burned off from boiling water. The details are horrifying. The explanations sound unbelievable. And the atmosphere in this courtroom feels like it could crack at any moment. The defense is scrambling, the prosecution is locked in, and Judge Boyd looks seconds away from running out of patience. What you're about to see is a mix of heartbreak, disbelief, and courtroom drama that'll make you question how anyone could end up in a situation like this. Was this a tragic accident or something far more disturbing? Let's get into it.
But why were you late?
Oh, we wasn't late. We were outside talking.
All right. So late is when you're not in the courtroom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Plus, he was driving in from
Odessa.
This morning.
All right. So you entered a plea bargain agreement on July 12th
Yes, ma'am.
and applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishments be assessed at a cap of 10 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. The state opposes your application. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, and there are no contact with Caden Haggis. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. State, do you have any witnesses?
No witnesses, just argument, Judge.
Defense, any witnesses?
Yes, please, Judge. Call Audrey Fuller.
All right. Audrey Fuller. All right. State your name for the record.
Audrey Fuller.
All right. Defense?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Fuller, how are you related to Zachary Prince?
I'm his mother.
And you could face forward so that
Okay.
she can hear you better.
I'm his mother.
I heard, we spoke before court this morning, correct?
Yes.
And you referred to Zachary by another name?
Devontae, that's his middle name.
Okay, so if you talk about a Devontae here, you mean Zach,
Yes.
Zach Prince. How are you employed, Ms. Fuller?
I'm 100% disabled veteran. I don't work.
So you served in the military?
Yes.
And I think that's reflected in the pre-sentence report. During Zach's childhood and growing up, you were in the military?
Yes.
What branch?
Army.
And that was throughout the time that Zach lived with you as a child and before he moved out?
Yes, sir.
How was Zachary as a child?
He was a sweet, happy child. He was very loving. He is very loving.
And what about in his older years, like high school years and teenage years?
He didn't change. He's always been a sweet kid. Always loved and very protective.
Any behavioral issues with him?
No,
Was he respectful with you?
he's always been respectful with me.
Any issues in high school, getting into trouble or anything like that?
No.
You have, you know what he's charged with and what he pled to in this case.
Yes, sir.
What are your feelings about that you would like the judge to know?
I don't know.
Well, I'd like to ask the question,
Okay.
answer the questions first.
Well, with my whole heart, I believe that my son did not do this.
And by not doing it, you know the facts of where the baby was.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to let me finish before you speak because she's taking everything down. That he left the child in the bathtub and the child was burned with water, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you know he did that. So at the very minimum, he was neglectful for not keeping an eye on the child after he left it in the bathtub,
Yes.
right? How many children does Zachary have?
Yeah.
And what are their ages? Do you know?
Yes. 11, 10, 7, 6, 4.
Does he spend much time with his children?
He works out of town, but whenever he's home, he always gets them. He had them this weekend at my house.
And through the years, has he spent a lot of time with his children in your presence?
Yes.
What kind of father is he with his children?
He's a very loving father. He loves his kids and they love him also.
Have you ever seen him lose his temper with the kids?
I've never seen him ever get upset with kids.
have you ever seen him do anything to discipline them, reprimand them, that you thought maybe was over the line in how he did it?
No, he's never done anything.
Have you ever seen him physical with the kids?
No, not ever, not one.
Or neglectful with the kids? How about aside from the kids? Have you ever seen him violent or physical?
Never in my presence.
This guy already starts off on the wrong foot. Showing up late to court when you're facing child abuse charges is about as bad of a first impression as it gets. That's like walking into a fire while holding gasoline. The judge is clearly not in the mood for excuses, and honestly, who could blame her? This isn't some small mistake. This involves a child who suffered serious burns. Then the defense brings in his mother, hoping her testimony will soften the impact. But let's be real. A mom is going to defend her child no matter what the facts say. And while that makes sense emotionally, legally, it doesn't hold much weight. A background check tells you more than a parent's opinion ever could. She's emotional, protective, and clearly struggling to process what's being discussed in court. But emotions don't outweigh evidence. Let me know in the comments. Do you think her testimony helped his case, or did it just highlight how serious this situation really is? Because so far, the judge doesn't look convinced at all.
Zachary would never intentionally hurt any child ever. Although he had to plead, it was solely based off of his chance of proving his innocence, which have been extremely slim. I do believe that he is guilty of one thing, that is neglect. He never should have left the child in the bathroom alone. Zachary has felt extreme remorse for his actions ever since the incident. I'm here to plead to the court to grant mercy on my child during the sentencing phase. He is a great, loving, and protective parent of his 5 children who all need him in their lives. They all love their father very much. It would be hard on them. Physically, I haven't seen anything. I just know.
Okay. So is it fair to say you haven't reviewed any offense reports or
No.
police reports?
No,
You haven't reviewed any of the medical history?
no,
You haven't reviewed any of the photographs?
yes,
So despite not reviewing any of that, you still believe that your son is innocent?
yes,
Do you realize that in the stipulations that a medical professional, a doctor, said that the pattern of the burn in this case has clear lines of demarcation and no splashing, which means that it was an intentional submersion or immersion.
Judge,
You
I'll
understand that?
object to the form of the question.
All right, just for a moment. State, could you repeat your question,
Yes.
please?
So there's a medical report in there from a doctor who says that the clear lines of demarcation and the lack of evidence of splashing in this case shows that this appears to be a immersion, meaning putting somebody in water. Did you know that?
no.
Okay.
Just so you're saying that they're saying that he held him underwater?
That's what it clearly appears to be. Were you aware of that?
No.
Because according to your son's statement, he says that the child's in there and then the water's flowing over him, but there is no burns on this child's chest.
Judge, I would object. She's already said she doesn't have knowledge of that. She had not reviewed the reports or the evidence. It's just argumentative.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know. I don't know.
Does that change your mind about whether you know that he's innocent about this?
I still, yeah, it doesn't change my mind.
Okay. So regardless of what you hear, you know that your son's innocent.
Yes, because his the way I know him, that Devontae, he's never hurt a child ever. I've never seen him hurt. We have 50 kids in our family, young kids, and he always takes care of these kids. He's never seen him. I've never ever seen him do anything out of line, touch them, hit them, yell at them, anything. And he's 30, and if we have them all ages, and he's never done this. So for him to do something like this, that's not a character. I can't believe it.
Okay. Were you aware that he's a suspect in another injury to a child case in
Yeah.
Kilgore?
I'm aware that that's my grandson.
Okay.
And when my grandson got to my house, he had those marks on him before he even, whoever dropped, was his mom didn't drop him off. Someone else dropped him off at my mother's house, and my mother noticed him, and my mom told me, and my mom told him that he had marks on him. And they were the same marks that the doctor saw. So
Okay.
he had those injuries previously.
What about the head injuries in that case?
I don't know what head injury you're talking about.
Okay. So maybe we're just talking about a different case then.
There's just one case.
Okay. So you know his full criminal history?
He's one.
Okay. So are you aware that he has any other pending cases?
Not that maybe if you tell me what they are.
Well, I want to know what you have. What you know. Tell me what you know about the other pending cases.
I know that he had one where he was at a bar with his coworkers, and the coworker had a gun, and then the coworker was being disruptive with the person who was arrested because he was in a bar with a gun. And then when my son walked over there, him and another guy, and they asked what's going on. Then because the officer was in plain clothes. And then they saw that he had a gun. Then they backed off. They said, "Oh, okay, he's a cop." And then they said they just want to know what was going on. And then they said that he had a gun.
Okay. So are you aware of he has a pending aggravated assault in Midland County?
No.
Okay. That's witness judgment.
That the case that you just described about being in the bar, is that the pending case?
Yes.
And you mentioned that the state asked you whether you thought Zach was innocent, but in your statement you wrote that he was neglectful at a minimum.
Yes. For leaving the child in it because the child turned the water on.
That's a bit different from being innocent, being
Yes,
neglectful.
he's guilty. Yes, he's guilty of that.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
I have no further questions.
Here's where the story really starts falling apart. The defense keeps pushing the idea that he simply left the child alone in the bathtub. But how do you forget something like that when you have 5 kids? Even if it were an accident, and that's a big if, you'd expect panic, urgency, and immediate action. Instead, the timeline raises serious questions. The prosecution's version is much darker. They claim he held the child down in scalding hot water, and the medical report backs that up. Those injuries don't match a quick accident. They point to prolonged exposure. When that doctor's report gets mentioned, you can literally see the mother's expression change, like she's realizing there's more to this story than she knew. And then there are the defendant's past offenses, which completely wreck his credibility. Suddenly, the good father, image the defense tried to build, looks flimsy. The prosecution cuts through the narrative with ease, and now it's his word versus medical evidence. And in court, science carries more weight than stories. So what do you think? Did he really forget his child in the tub, or was he covering up something much worse? Because either way, this story doesn't line up.
All right, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Chelsea Nixon.
All right, defense?
Ms. Nixon, how are you related to Zach Prince, if at all?
Girlfriend of almost 2 years.
And do y'all live together?
Yes.
How long have y'all lived together?
About a year and a half.
Do you have any children with Mr. Prince?
No children with him.
Expecting?
Not that I'm aware of.
And do you have any children of your own?
Yes.
How old are they?
10 and 8.
And you're aware with what this case that Zachary has against him, correct?
Correct.
That involved a young child. Did you ever witness anything knowing that with Zachary being around your children that concerned you?
No, never.
How is he with your children?
He's very, very involved with them. He does their homework with them. If there's ever anything that I can't do with them, he does. If he's ever not working, he's home with them when I'm working. He's very involved, like actively with them. They both play sports, so he's very, very much involved with them.
So they're very close. Have you ever seen him discipline them in a way that made you uncomfortable?
No.
Have you ever seen him lose his temper with them?
No.
Have you ever been worried about leaving them in his care?
No.
That's the witness.
Just a couple questions. Ms. Nixon, your kids reside with you
Yes.
full time?
Yes.
Okay. And does Zachary live with you full time?
Yes.
Okay. So he's around these kids pretty often?
Correct.
Are you aware of the allegations in this case?
I am now.
Okay. Does that give you any concern for having your kids around him?
No. I mean, from my personal experience with him and the way that my children care for him and how he's been a very good role model for them and been there for them, I don't question him around my kids.
And just to be specific, I'm asking about knowing the allegations in this case. You don't have any issue with your children being around Zachary Prince?
I do not.
That's witness.
No, fine.
How old are your children?
10 and 8.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Defense, call your next witness.
No other witnesses, Your Honor. No other witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. Prince, is there anything you wish to say? You can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand.
I just wanted to make a statement if that was okay.
Sure.
I just wanted to let the court know that I have like the utmost remorse about what happened. I mean, at the end of the day, I take full responsibility because I should have been an unselfish adult about it and been watching Kaden the whole time. And I understand the allegations against me, and whatever the court decides, I'm 100% with it. But I mean, if the probation is on the table, which I heard is slim, but if it is on the table, there won't be any problems out of me. And I think that'll be the best option for me, my children and my family, because I'm like a real staple and pillar within my family. That's all I got.
All right. So have you seen the photos in this case?
Yes, ma'am. I was there at the hospital when he was bandaged up and everything.
All right. So I'm looking at the photos, and there are extensive burns to his bottom.
Mhm.
And then there's extensive burns to his chest. I don't understand your story because it doesn't seem to be consistent with the photos and the information that the court has reviewed. And I will tell you, even though Judge Angelini is the judge that took this plea, I read over all of the PSI reports and I reread all the stipulations.
It happened how I said it happened.
All right. Any questions from the state?
And I think the court inquired about what I was interested in knowing.
All right. Defense, any clarification needed from your point? Because what the court is reviewing and seeing is a 2-year-old who has no skin remaining on his bottom because of scalding hot water.
Yes, ma'am.
And it appears from the photo that I'm reviewing, his entire chest is covered and back with burns and removed because of scalding water. Yes.
That they took that off at the hospital. They took more than they were supposed to.
Got more of his skin off?
Yes, ma'am. When me and his mother went to the hospital, they told us, okay, this is only what we're taking off. And then they chose to take more of his skin off. I don't know why. When we got to the hospital, we both broke down about this whole situation. Just seeing him cast up like we did, we didn't know what was going on. We thought it wasn't as severe as it was, but it was.
Well, explain to the court why you didn't call EMS immediately, because I read the PSI report and it states that you put lotion on his body as opposed to calling.
Aloe vera. I put aloe vera on it, not thinking it was severe, and I called.
Well, no, I'm reading in the PSI report, and you state in the PSI report that his skin was falling off.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that not serious?
And that's why when his mother came, I said, let's go to the hospital right now. And I just, at that time, if I could go back and change it, I would call EMS first, but I wanted to keep his mother in the know. I didn't want her to, she was real sensitive, and I didn't want her breaking down or doing something out of the ordinary. So I called her and convinced her to take him to the hospital.
Then the defense calls more witnesses, and it's clear they're in full damage control mode. His girlfriend takes a stand next, and she goes all in on loyalty. You can tell she genuinely believes in him, and credit where it's due. Standing by someone when everything's falling apart isn't easy. But belief doesn't change evidence. The judge listens carefully, but her expression says everything. The testimony doesn't match the physical injuries or the photographic proof. And logically, think about it. No child is going to sit calmly in a tub of boiling water while their skin is being burned. Burns reaching up to the chest aren't consistent with, I stepped away for a minute. That suggests something much more serious. Then the defendant slips up, minimizing the severity of the injuries, like he's still trying to downplay what happened. If he truly cared, he would have rushed that child to the emergency room immediately, not waited and hoped things improved on their own. By now, the courtroom feels heavy. The girlfriend looks shaken. The mother is emotional. and Judge Boyd looks ready to deliver a serious reality check.
He didn't want to take him to the hospital, but I said the best thing to go to the hospital.
Well, then I have an issue with her parenting skills as well. So it appears that the baby is not placed with her. Am I correct?
I don't know where the
The
baby
child is with her, Judge. I don't know if that,
Well, thank you. If the defendant's testimony is correct, then Child Protective Services review your cases. All right, the court will hear argument. State.
Judge, I think it's pretty clear just from the photographs in this case, his inability to relay a true version of what happened on his case. You can see from the burns that this is not a child splashing around in the water with burns all over the body. There's clear deep lines of demarcation, which indicates from the professional standpoint, I believe, which is contained in the stipulations, that this child was held and immersed into hot water. A 2-year-old. I don't know what in the world could justify a 2-year-old having, half of his body burned with skin coming off. We have the witnesses for the defense that came in here are clearly, understandably biased. I understand mom wants to come in here and tell this court that he is just neglectful. No, and he pled to an intentional and knowing act, because that is what he did. This child has permanent scars on his body with no justification. I think the offer was generous in this case for 10 years. And so we're asking that you deny his application and that you sentence him to the full 10 years because he deserves every single day of that 10 years.
All right, defense.
Judge, I'm not an expert or physician, and that's I can't argue how it happened. I can tell you of my opinion is I can see that it could have entirely happened the way Mr. Prince says it happened. The child turned the faucet to hot when he was left in there alone, which was the neglectful act, and the water splashes on his chest, it turns, it hits his back, and he goes down and is on the butt. I can see how those isolated, and I don't know why you're making those faces to me, Judge. You can.
I'm not making. First of all, stop. One, I'm not making any faces. Number two, I'm looking at you and listening to your argument, counsel.
I noted facial expressions, Judge.
Well, your notation is incorrect. You may continue with your argument.
If it was an immersion, in my opinion, but again, I'm not a physician nor an expert, but I just can't see on these facts how anyone who's not a physician or an expert can just say with 100% certainty it couldn't have happened that way. I can't accept that. If it were immersion, I would expect that it would be all the way burned around, not just in patches. How could it immerse it just in portions, in just the chest, in just the butt? That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not a physician or a doctor. I'm just saying I can't see how any of us who aren't physicians or experts could know for certain.
State.
Well, I'm not finished, Judge. Mr. Prince is from a good family, as you've noted, had a good upbringing, did everything that we would expect from someone going to school, graduating, working hard, good role model for his brother, taking care of his kids. He's taken responsibility for this act, for what he did do. And I guess we could sit here all day and argue what that was. But he's got no felony priors. Sending him to prison for this when it's questionable to me is severe. I know that the injuries to the child is severe, and it's a tough type of case. But sending him to prison, I don't think resolves anything. He needs to be out here taking care of his kids financially and otherwise. And so I hope you will consider the deferred with conditions, with ISF, with other things that could address maybe a punishment aspect. That's all I have.
State.
Just briefly, Judge, I know Mr. McCrum's not an expert. I'm not an expert. The court is not an expert, but there is an expert opinion contained within the stipulations, and that's what the state is relying on, because this 2-year-old can't tell anybody what happened to them. We have to rely on the experts in this case, which is clear, which is contained in the stipulations that this was an immersion case. And so, again, we're asking that you deny his application and sentence him to the full 10 years.
All right. Anything else, counsel? All right. After reviewing the stipulation and reviewing all of the evidence, and Mr. Prince, the court has listened to the witness's testimony, and I always appreciate when witnesses come in because they give me a more global view of a person that's standing before me than just what's in the PSI report. All right, the court is going to deny your application, find you guilty. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Caden Pegas. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. Give you credit for any time served, and the court will sentence you to 10 years in the prison. Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Have you reviewed that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, and also because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you, Mr. Prince.
By the end of this case, one question really stands out. What does being a good parent even mean anymore? Because based on what we just saw, neither parent seems to meet that standard. A good parent acts fast, protects their child, and never hesitates when their kid is in danger. This child didn't just get hurt, they went through something no kid should ever experience. And once you see the photos, it's hard not to understand why the judge handed down the full 10-year sentence. The defense attorney tried his best, but losing his composure during the hearing didn't exactly help his case. Still, one thing is true, we'll probably never know exactly what happened in that bathroom. But the court can only rule based on evidence, and that evidence painted a disturbing picture. Do you think 10 years is enough for what this child went through? Or did the court go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.